Music is not in the tones but in the silence in between. There is neither a high degree of intelligence, nor imagination, nor both in the making of genius. Love, 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 which is the soul of genius. I don't care to praise or blame anyone. I simply follow my feelings. When to be myself, completely alone, or during the night when I cannot sleep, on such occasions my thoughts flow better and more abundantly. From where and how these thoughts come I do not know and cannot force them. Speaking well and eloquently is a very fine art, but an equally wonderful art is knowing the right moment to pause. It is a mistake to think that the practice of my art has become easy for me. I assure you, my dear friend, that no one has taken so much interest in the study of composition as I. There is seldom a famous master of music whose works I have not studied so much and diligently. Stay with me until the night, you shall see me die. I have always felt the taste of death on my tongue, I smell death, and who will stand by Constance, if you do not stay? Since death, when we look at it closely, is the true object of our existence, I have for the past few years formed such close relations with this best and truest friend of mankind. Since death, when we look at it closely, is the true object of our existence, I have for the past few years formed such close relations with this best and truest friend of mankind, that the image of death is not only terrifying to me, but is actually very soothing and consoling. Melodic is the essence of music. I compare a good melody to a good rider, and opponents to the penetration of subsequent horses, so it is advisable, not to mention well and remember the old Italian proverb, chi sa più, meno sa, he who knows more, knows less. Our fortunes, being in our brains, die with us, unless someone is going to behead us of course, in which case we wouldn't need them anyway. Nevertheless, sentiments, whether violent or non-violent, should never be so expressed as to the point of disgust, and music, even in the greatest horrors, should not be painful to the ear, but should flatter and charm it, and therefore always remain music. Dear sister, I am amazed to discover that you can compose so delightfully. In short, your lie is beautiful. You must compose a lot. People who err who think my art comes to me so easily. I assure you, my dear friend, no one has devoted so much time and thought to compositions as I have. There is no famous master whose music I have not studied diligently so many times. When I'm feeling good and with a good sense of humor, when I'm driving or walking after a good meal, or at night when I can't sleep, thoughts gather in my mind as easily as you wish. The music is not in the tones, but in the silence in between. I don't care to praise or blame anyone. I simply follow my feelings. I thank God for so kindly giving me the opportunity to learn that death is the key that opens the door to our true happiness. Speaking well and eloquently is a very fine art, but also this wonderful art is knowing the right moment to pause. I can't write poetics, I'm not a poet. I can't make subtle artistic expressions that cast light and shadow, I'm not a painter. I can't express my thoughts and feelings by signs nor by pantomime, I'm not a dancer. But I can do it with tones, because I'm a musician. I am one of those who will continue to work until all the work is done. We live in this world always diligently learning and enlightening one another through discussion and striving vigorously to promote the advancement of science and the fine arts. Believe me, I don't like laziness but work. When I am traveling in a carriage or walking after a good meal, or during the night when I cannot sleep, on such occasions the ideas flow better and more abundantly. The golden means, the truth, is no longer recognized or valued. To win the applause, one must write things so simple that a coach might sing them, or so incomprehensible that they satisfy simply because no sane man can understand them. You know, I dive into music, so to speak, which I think about all day, that I love to experiment, study, think. Nevertheless, sentiments, whether violent or non-violent, should never be so expressed as to the point of disgust, and music, even in the greatest horrors, should not be painful to the ear, but should flatter and charm it, and therefore always remain music. As people behave with me, so do I with them. When I see that someone despises me and treats me with contempt, I can be as proud as any peacock. One must not make oneself cheap here, that is a key point, or else it will be done. Whoever is rude has the best chance. How sad it is that these great gentlemen must believe what anyone tells them and do not choose to judge themselves. But it has always been so. An unmarried man, in my opinion, has only half a life. The most motivating and encouraging thought is that you, dear father, and dear sister, are so well, that I am an honest German, and if I am not always allowed to speak, I can think of what I will, but that is all. The happy medium, the truth in all, is no longer known or appreciated. To get applause one must write things so trivial that they may be played on barrel organs, or so incomprehensible that no rational being can comprehend them, though that, on this very account, they are likely to be satisfied. Pronunciation is, indeed, indispensable to music, but rhyme, only for rhyme, is the most harmful. I hope I never get married this way. I wish to make my wife happy, but I do not want to become rich in her means, so I will leave things alone and have golden freedom until I am so well off that I can provide for both the wife and the children. I live in a country where music has very little success, though, except for those who have left us, we still have great masters, more specifically, composers of solidity, knowledge, and great taste. It is a mistake to think that the practice of my art has become easy for me. I assure you, my dear friend, that no one has taken so much interest in the study of composition as I. There is seldom a famous master of music whose works I have not studied so much and diligently. The only thing, I tell you this from the heart, that disgusts me in Salzburg is that no one can have any proper social contact with these people, and that music has no better reputation, for I assure you, without travel, at least for people of arts and sciences, one miserable creature. My only entertainment is dancing the English matches and cutting capers. Italy is the land of sleep. I am always sleepy here. When I come to think of it, in no country has I been so honored or appreciated as in Italy, and nothing contributes to a man's fame more than his writing of Italian opera, especially in Naples. I never lie down at night without thinking of it. A young man like me, may I not live to see another day. Yet none of all my acquaintances could say that I am in the company of melancholy or indignant. I'm not mindless, but I'm ready for anything, and as a result I can wait patiently for what the future holds, and I'll be able to put up with it. If Germany, my beloved country, of which you know I am proud, does not accept me, then I must, in the name of God, make France or England richer with a capable German, and to the disgrace of the German nation. They may think that because I am so young, nothing of greatness and class can come out of me, but they will soon find out. Music, even in the most terrible of situations, should never offend the ear but always remains a source of pleasure. Music should not offend the ear, but should please the listener, or in other words, it should not cease to be music. God is always before my eyes. I realize His omnipotence and I fear His wrath, but I also recognize His compassion and tenderness towards His creatures. The hardest and most important thing in music is time. Writing music is my only passion and joy.